piece for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was having talked with Bev today. When I come in, I want to have a whole big media and a whole bunch of community stuff because I think that's something to celebrate. So second oldest club in the district, Rotary Club of Vancouver, a little bit older. They're their sponsor. So I guess we just filled in all the coast and then we came into the interior like Prince George 25 years later or something. So anyways, public relations and public image. I'm going to turn this over to Andrea Johnson, who's the district chair for public image, public relations. She has a small group, a very small group that she relies on. This group could be a lot bigger. And I really do encourage that we find some people to kind of put their names forward to assist. And the reason being is that the more hands, the better. And we definitely need to spend some time putting public image articles together, public relations, get a bit of a communication plan. And we'll talk things like newsletters and op-eds and, highlight the club of the week type of approach. And even if we have to showcase that your clubs are being showcased because we take some time to learn a little bit about your history and again, where you want to go with things. We got the Rotary Days of Service that is coming in next year. We got the district gatherings. We hope to get face-to-face someday. I know we have to district conference in Prince George and we want to get presidential forums, but we also have some really good examples where you could highlight your club speakers. Matteo Capras from Mountain View does a remarkable job. He needs to take 50 pounds off my picture the next time before he posts it on a brochure. But generally speaking, they really make it a big deal. And I really do think that's a way to kind of move it forward. And we'll talk a little bit at the end about the DG visits and how you can maximize the DG visits and the fact that they're there to get in front of the media for you and to promote Rotary. So with that out of ado, I know Andrea's going to cover off a lot of this material in her slide deck. And so Andrea, take her away.
Thanks, DG Lauren. Welcome, everybody. I just wanted to introduce a few other people from Lauren's leadership team tonight joining us. We've got Kelly Zammit from Prince George and Chaco as our, I don't know what you would call her, strategic planner, trainer extraordinaire. And then we've got Bill Hellier who from Prince George Yellowhead, who is Lauren's trainer for his district governor here. So welcome everybody. I'm from the Prince George Nechako. So there's 4 of us that are leading the charge or working with you over the next year. So I'll just share my screen and we'll get going. If you could please rename yourselves with your club name, that would be wonderful. We'll be asking people to put stuff in the chat. Bill would be monitoring that. And we'll get going here. So public relations, public image. So the agenda tonight, there's a lot to cover off. We hope to get through it, but also there's some good discussion points that I hope we can get through. I don't know what happened there. So introduction, brand awareness. We'll talk about the Rotary strategic priority areas, the essential elements of Rotary, telling our story 6 ways. There's probably 10 ways we could tell it, but I'm going to talk about 6 ways to tell it. The People of Action campaign, the membership spotlight pilot project I'm working on with the Caribou clubs and most likely with the Prince George clubs. The Rotary Days of Service, what Lauren mentioned, and then we'll have time for questions. But if you have any questions, feel free. But there will be, put them in the chat or raise your hand if you have questions and we'll get to them. So I just want to acknowledge that I'm joining you tonight from the traditional territory of the Lheidli T'enneh. I'm honored to live, learn, and lead from the land of the Carrier people. So just some definitions. I'm sure you know these, but just for any new people here joining us tonight, public relations, just some definitions, informs the community about your club activities, events, and I'm just going to events and services. It builds awareness and credibility. Public image, it's what your club stands for and how you are perceived, your club's image in the community. So in the chat box, I just want you to put in why is public image important for Rotary? So if you could put your answers in the chat box. And I can't see. I can't see the chat box.
Andrea, if you wish, I could read off some of them. Recruitment,
sure. Yes,
growth, awareness.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Reaching out to the community. So we are not the best kept secret. To connect our community with Rotary and let them know what we are. Important for the community to know who we are and what we do. A lot of comments with respect to local communities. Build our brand.
Yeah. And what about current members? Does it, I think it helps motivate our current members and keeps them engaged, right? I don't know if that was one of them. And prospective members.
It is important. It is important for attracting new members and to encourage support for our projects. So I think that speaks to membership engagement.
Great. Okay, that covers it. And it also attracts sponsors and more volunteers who are willing to support Rotary service as well. I don't know if that was in the chat, but hopefully it was. I'm sure it was. So Rotary's brand and public image, it's more than just a brand and logo. It helps tells our story. So obviously that's the Rotary brand. And Ardith, you had a question? You're muted.
Was just in response to the last, to the chat box. I just wanted to say that PR and PI are an excellent opportunity to talk to diversity, equity, and inclusion within Rotary, because people can see themselves in the articles and the pictures that we're posting.
Exactly. That's a great point. Excellent point, Ardith. Thank you. And Ardith is, for those who don't know, Ardith is our new diversity, equity, and inclusion district chair for Rotary 5040. So it's great to have you on board, obviously, Ardith. So great to be working with you. So keep this in mind. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and ourselves. So that's actually Rotary's vision. So that's actually, I use that as my email signature as well. So the four strategic priorities increase that have been laid out this year: increase our impact, expand our reach, enhance participant engagement, increase our ability to adapt. So I'll just quickly go through the four. Eradicate polio and leverage our legacy. You can read these. So that's increase our impact, expand our reach, which is very important to public relations, and we'll expand on that further. Create new channels into Rotary, increase Rotary's openness and appeal, build awareness for impact and brand, and obviously enhance participant engagement. That's also key going forward. Increase our ability to adapt. So expand our reach is most important, especially for PR and public relations and public image. Growing, diversify our membership and participation, create new channels into Rotary, increase Rotary's openness and appeal, build awareness of our impact and brand. So why is it important? I put in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand and say something, why is expanding our reach the most important when it comes to public relations? Oops, sorry. Bill, you want to read some of them out?
There was actually a question about, are we going to talk about how we do this? There's comment that many hands make light work. Another comment that it attracts potential partners, and so that we as Rotary can do more. And it helps to sustain growth, because you either keep growing or you start to decay, and there is strength in numbers.
Great. Yes, we will get into some of the how we will do this. I will give you some examples of how we are doing this, and then expand on those further. So I'll just give you, this is not really this session's not really like a thing on social media or traditional media. It's more of a high level, but yes, we will touch on how to expand on those points and how to expand our reach. So keep this in mind. The essential elements of Rotary. We can no longer afford to work in silos. So public relations is a key part of that. Public relations, the public relations chair should be working closely with the foundation chair and membership. And a strong brand attracts like-minded Rotarians, who in turn donate and participate in grants, polio, peace, who in turn strengthen story and brand, and that attracts more members. So that's a continuous cycle. I mean, you could have public relations on the left or right, whatever. It's a continuous cycle, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So engaging our members, expanding our reach through the foundation and community partners elevates our brand. So keep that in mind as we think about that, because we're encouraging clubs to work together in your own area, work with community partners, but most of all, share information with one another. So this is how we'll get into telling your story, 7 different ways. So this is just something that I put together for my club back in July. So your presidents and your AGs are keeping stats and data through Rotary Club Central and key performance indicators. And so, you're tracking hours, you're tracking how much money you're raising for charity and how big your club is. So this is just a snapshot of a post I created on Canva and for our club. So, and this was for 2019-20 for the Rotary year. And so it kind of shows the impact that we have on the community. And this is just one club in Prince George out of the 3. So yeah, we raised, $27,000. We had more than 6,000 volunteer hours and 39 members. And your AGs will have, as well as your assistant governors, as well as your presidents, will have this information. They're constantly collecting this information and putting it in Rotary Club Central. And it's available, well, I think you can access it quarterly, but all this information will be available at the end of June or early July. And this is kind of something I compiled for Prince George for the 3 clubs, 70,000 raised for charity, 9,400 volunteer hours, and 138 members. So that's just the impact that Rotary has in Prince George. I know and this is what I posted this on our Facebook and Twitter in the shared Prince George Facebook group. And I think I posted on the district Facebook group as well as our club runners. So I know downtown Lawrence Club did the similar thing, as well as Prince George Yellowhead. And I think other clubs saw it, and they also did a similar thing with their stats they had. So every assistant governor has these numbers. And it's something that you can easily do as well.
Andrea, there's a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
It's with respect to the slide that you were just showing. It says, so how can we have a template available like this to execute on a local club level? So I think the request is to have the perhaps this slide distributed to all of the clubs, and they could just input their own club information.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I saw this on the public image, massive public image page that includes Facebook page that includes Rotarians from around the world. And this, I got this idea from a e-club in New York. So he was kind enough to share this template with us, and I can make this shareable as well. I created this on Canva. There's other programs that you can use to create this, but this was my first crack at using Canva. It's a free graphic program, and it's great. I love it now. So I'll just submit Brian there. So I can definitely make this shareable. So you can download it. I can send you that this graphic for you, and so you've got the template and you can create your own. So if you want to, I'll have my contact information at the end. So if anybody wants this graphic, I can definitely happily share it with you.
And Andrea, if I might, Lauren Calder has his hand raised. Lauren, please.
The other point when I make, these are 3 really easy stats to put in, but we do collect over 50 KPIs. And so you could change this up depending on what you want to showcase. Maybe you have a specific community type of an event or a community-based thing that maybe want to have higher profile, but it's easy to infill these things. You can put in 3 different metrics, just depending on what you want to advertise or market. These are the two to three that are the most universal, and you'll see this on the next slide here, which we're going to do this at the district level and at the global level. And we just want to show you the impact that Rotary has in an area specifically. If you do this by club, you often get, I call, I don't know if it's friendly competition or serious competition. You tend to start comparing yourselves, and sometimes that can be a negative. But having said that, anytime you're marketing yourself and you can turn it into a positive, this is exactly what can happen.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. And you could also do this for foundation. So if your foundation month is in November, I did it for November. However, the stats were wrong because one club hadn't inputted their numbers yet, or they weren't correct. So anyway, you could do this for foundation. You could have based on like how much money you've raised for the foundation, and so that support, and then you could list what it supports. It supports peace and polio and all the areas of focus. All right, so you could totally change this up for whatever you're promoting or what. So yeah, it's just another way to show your impact. So this is one that Lauren has provided these next 2 slides. So this kind of shows the economic value of District 5040. So obviously we're tracking our volunteer hours for a reason. And so in 5040, this is for 2019-20, right, Lauren? Is that right?
Yes, yeah, this is last year was a little bit on the lower end because of the pandemic. We definitely saw the volunteer hours drop off because we're told to stay home. So we follow the rules pretty good, but still did really well. And so I think this is a good showcase. And these are some of these are estimates. Some of these are based off of the world where we average about 40 hours per Rotarian. The project fundraising, as Andrea showed you, her club raised 27,000. We've raised historically in the 30,000-40,000 range. Another club raises 30,000-40,000. So we use 21,000 to 31,000 as an average. There are some clubs that do a lot less. There's some clubs that do a lot more. And then we have the actual numbers from the donations from the foundation and Polio Plus, and you can see the impact on the district level, and you'll see the impact on the global stage.
So this is just District 5040, where we've got a, between 3.5 and $5 million economic impact annually. So And volunteer hours, 50,000, like it's incredible what we can do and what the impact that we have in our district and in our communities, obviously. So this is why we track hours. I mean, clubs do still track attendance, and that's great, but this gives us more of an impact, or I guess it shows the impact that we do have on our communities as well. And then the next one, this is the economic value of Rotary globally. So 47 million hours. If you're, I mean, if you're put a value on that, $25 an hour, you know, 1.18 billion. So, and that's underreported. So the impact that we have around the world is between 3 and 4 billion. So that's just incredible. So we could, I mean, if you wanted, you could put a slide together or a graphic together. I mean, I could do it, whatever, but on the district, but you could definitely, this is something else that we can crow about and brag about. Okay, moving on.
Yes, Andrea.
Yep.
Darcy Long is suggesting that the slides you've just shown us would make a very good quarterly report for all club members. And it would remind club members of just how awesome they and Rotary are.
Yes, very good point, Darcy. I agree. Are these numbers, I guess we could get these are inputted quarterly, right? These numbers, like our volunteer hours and stuff?
Yeah, but you do have to annualize them, Andrea. I mean, ultimately, there's busy quarters and not so busy quarters, and so you can find some fluctuations, but as long as you know that. And comparatively speaking, in Canada, we're actually one of the higher donors, supporters of the foundation. We actually we're number 5th in the world in dollars given and number 3 in the world in per capita giving. And our district actually just saw the stats just recently. We are number 1 in per capita giving to the annual programs fund as we stand right now.
Excellent. Yeah, Canada's doing very well.
But you'll get bored of this slide because it's going to be in every one of my district governor visits.
Okay, so as we're all doing, we've been doing since November, and well, we started off last year, or ended last year, meeting virtually, and then resumed in person, then went back to virtual. So the benefits, and I think it's great because you can, especially for me who has been working from home for the last year, you can join from anywhere, and I really enjoy them. So it's a great way to invite high-level speakers and guests from around the world. You know, you can invite community members, your friends, other clubs, non-Rotarians, and you can spread the word. So if you've got community Facebook groups or whatever, put on Twitter, tell them, like, hey, if you want to come to a meeting, it's free. It's not like an in-person meeting. You don't have to pay they don't have to pay. They can send them the link. If they're interested, send them the link and join us and join your club. If you've already got, it doesn't matter. We share, I'll go to the next slide, but spread the word amongst your fellow Rotarians and community members. So several examples that, you know, where we've had high-level speakers at regular meetings, but it wasn't shared across the district. You know, one club had Shakar Mehta, who's the RI president-elect, at one of their meetings a few weeks ago, and did not really spread the word about it, only invited certain clubs. And I believe, and it's my opinion, that should have been promoted district-wide, because there's not very many opportunities. I mean, it's great you can do it virtually, but where you can listen to the incoming Rotary International president. And so that's if you've got somebody like that, or somebody from even the RI district, or the or sorry, not our district, RI board in Evanston, then let us know. Let everybody know. You never know if they can make it, great, but at least share the news. I know Jennifer Jones, who's the RI president nominee, she also spoke, and that was shared, but I'm not too sure how many people knew about that. Dean Roars is another one. She's amazing. She's obviously a former DG from 5040, and now she's in she's in Langley, but she's a former vice president. And is she still a director?
She's a trustee for the Rotary Foundation.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard Dean, we all love Dean. Those of us who know her, we all love Dean, and she's amazing. So,
Yeah.
but don't be shy. Share the news. If you've got a speaker, somebody this high up, especially in Rotary or corporation, share it. Are there any other?
Andrea?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Andrea, there is a comment in the chat. Certain clubs perhaps would not have the Zoom capability or the capacity to host large gatherings. Is there any thing that you could comment on that might help a club that finds itself in that circumstance?
Well, if you can, I would encourage the club to pay for a Zoom account that lasts more than 40 minutes and can, if it has 100, even if you have 100, I think that the minimum or a minimum of 100 people, and that's okay. The more, the better. But if you can, I think the clubs, in my opinion, should pay for a Zoom account for you. So it's not, so your meetings can go longer and you can invite more members. It just gives you more capacity.
And we can find solutions so that we can actually try and get a Zoom license that can add more guests. The district has just bought 2 Zoom licenses. We're just trying it out for now, but we may want to go up for some special event type stuff. In the end of the day, we need to do, if we're going to bring in these type of guest speakers in, bringing non-Rotarians in also is very, very important as well, because they do get that bigger picture of Rotary, and often they learn a lot. And so we are looking at buying a larger capacity, because actually Zoom is cheaper than GoToMeeting. And so we'll probably invest some money in that. We're just going through a test case now.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, if we can have more than one district account for that, that'd be awesome. Yes, but we can definitely help clubs out. But I think, yeah, I'd encourage clubs to pay for the Zoom account, please. So just going through a couple examples, what I've done in my club. These graphics are created in Canva that I did. Just some of our speakers. I do this one a week, unless it's club day. I don't do one for club day. But just some of the different kinds of speakers that we've had at our club, and that we've shared the news, spread the word about it. Obviously with Black Lives Matter was a huge issue. I mean, it still is a huge issue, but it definitely was a huge issue last summer. So we had a prof from UNBC join us and talk about race relations in Prince George. And he's one of the organizers that organized the Black Lives Matter events here in Prince George. And then had a friend of mine, Shelley from the Rotary Club of Rotan. So these are just some examples of what you can do. You don't have to create them in Canva, but if you've got a photo, ask when you invite a guest speaker, get a photo, put a blurb together, with their bio and background, and put it on your Facebook and share the news. And this is, I can share these templates if you want. I can definitely share these templates. These are the Rotary colors and the Rotary fonts. And I can share these with you as well. And this is, sorry, Lauren, how to use this photo. Matt sent this to me last night. But this is what Matt's club, Rotary Club of Vancouver, Mountain View, does in Vancouver.
It's a skinny one.
Yeah. I still need to lose 30 pounds. Thanks, Ardith. But
so this is what Matt's club does, Mountain View Club. They put the photo, time, even the Zoom password, the wow, and the title of the presentation, the Rotary branding's there. So Lauren spoke to them. We had Kelly speak to them about Rotary basics, and then we had another Drew Antipas from 5040 as well, who's also a really good Rotarian as well, who was he was Bala's trainer, I believe. But anyway, so this is just something that you can do. I mean, this is another way to promote your clubs. You could attach them to your, when you send out the Zoom invite, you can attach these posters to with your in Club Runner. I do the same thing when I send out the Zoom link. I attach the graphics. That's just yeah, Lauren.
The one thing I want to have Matt, maybe get Matteo to open up the line and talk about this, but they actually have somebody in the Philippines
That's right.
that does this for them, and they do remarkable work, and it creates employment, and it's very cheap, and you're making a difference. And I got to tell you that this wowed me. Of course, the wow of Rotary, but I think it's really a cool idea, and we could do a bit more of this. And I think it really increases the profile. Especially when I think the Mountain View Club is also looking at doing a bi-weekly spread in the Filipino magazines, and there's another good example of trying to get that in there and showing that they got these speakers coming and they're welcome. So I think they do work.
Okay, Matt, did you want to add anything to this? Was Matteo still on the line? No? Bill, were there any other comments?
Yeah, a couple. I was just waiting to see if Matteo was going to speak up, but their comments, kind of questions,
Yeah.
is do most people publish their Zoom passwords to the public? In other words, do the Zoom invites go out to beyond Rotary? And the second question, recognition that Zoom is a great tool, and what is the expectation? Will this continue past the COVID period we find ourselves in now?
Yeah, good questions. I'm a firm believer not to share the password and the Zoom ID. We don't do that at UNBC where I work. I usually include email. You'll see it here. We've got an email to our president to ask for the Zoom link. And then we'll share the Zoom link with them if they want it, and it's got the password in it. Now what was the second? Oh, yes. So the second question was, yes, I think we should move forward, continue doing this. We may still be, maybe even still doing hybrid meetings if people still, even if they're vaccinated, they're still not comfortable joining a meeting, or if they just can't make it over to your in-person meeting location. I think it's a great idea to still do, then people still get an idea of what's happening. I know with in-person meetings, it's usually announced at that meeting who next week's speaker is, but people forget and people just show up and they're not too sure who the speaker is. But I think this is another great way. And then, so this gives them, if they can make an in-person meeting, it's a great way to get a feeling for your club and kind of what you do. So I personally would think to continue with this when it's safe to do so, when we can meet in person.
Matt is just coming back online here, Andrea.
Yeah, see, he must have got kicked out. But yes, I think it's a great idea, good practice to continue with this. Because you never know who's going to show up. And if they can't join you in person, then maybe they can join you online. If you've got that capability, technological capability, where your meetings, in-person meetings are.
So Andrea, I just suggest that you may pose the question to Matteo that you had earlier asked. I see that Matteo has his mic open now.
Yeah, sorry, I was my Wi-Fi wasn't working. Actually, I would defer you to our administrator. He's also in the meeting. His name is Past President Rovic, and it was his idea to come up with this. With these posters. So Rovic, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrea.
Yeah, so Rovic, was there any other, what was the question? I guess, did you want to explain any further, you know, how this has impacted your club and how it's grown, attracted more people to your club?
Yes, basically, you mentioned it already, how we did it. We got a person in the Philippines who we gave a little income, and she did all the posters and all the things that we do in our meeting. Definitely, there's an impact. It's easy to share these posters to your friends, and we always post all our announcements like this in our Facebook page. So it's like a creative thing that catches people's attention.
Great. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Robic. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on. So everybody should know about the People of Action campaign, and that communicates the essence of Rotary and reflects our Rotary values. It connects diverse perspectives, build lifelong relationships, honor our commitments, apply our leadership to solve issues. And after this, I'm just going to show some examples of what you can do. So basically, it describes the impact of our projects and fundraisers locally and globally. It's how others think about Rotary, not just ourselves. And we have to create that perception of what people have of us. So action verbs that are used in the People of Action campaign: inspire, engage, lead, transform, save lives, have fun, end polio. So I'm just going to go through some examples of what clubs have done. Or this is from Squamish. This is actually Brian from, I put this together for a pets thing for Bella, but this is a photo. I put the end polio, the People of Action and polio template over this photo. These templates are available on the Brand Center for you to download. It's pretty easy. You just upload your photo and then pick the verb you want to use. So that could be transform, lead, engage, connect. So there's numerous ones you can use, and it's a pretty simple way. If you've got a community project that impacts lives, saves lives, you know, breakfast for children, any action photo that you can use, this is a great way to promote the People of Action campaign. And this is very easy in the Brand Center on Rotary.org. It's just another example. This is a file photo. Inspire, connect. It's got all the branding on it. Oops. Okay. Yeah. So as I mentioned, you can access those templates in the Brand Center on Rotary.org. And then you can post them on you can use them as Facebook banners, on your Twitter, on your Club Runner as well. And there's another app you can use. It's not really an app, but you can access it through your browser on your phone. So if you're out in the community, if you're doing a cool service project or whatever, you can just look this, and I can put this in the chat for you. Look for this on your browser. It's app poaphotos.com. And it's on your Safari or Chrome browser on your phone. And then that comes up and you can input your photo, and then you can choose from any of those verbs that come up. So that's the People of Action mobile app that you can use. Photos.com. Okay. How many people have used the People of Action branding? I'm just gonna show of hands. I know several clubs do, but just a show of hands who've used the People of Action branding before. Okay, Kelly. Okay. Did you have a question, Kelly? Okay. So another way, obviously everybody is familiar with Club Runner. It's a great way to share your stories, obviously, and keep your speaker list up to date. You can use it to create your bulletin. And obviously what we want to do ultimately this year is have you send me your stories that will form part of the monthly district's newsletter. One of Lauren's goals is to bring back the district newsletter this year, but I can't do it by myself. I can't go combing for photos and stories myself or whoever ends up doing it. So it'd be great if we could have the club send your stories that forms part of the monthly newsletter. A great way to share ideas, projects, what's happening among other clubs. And just make sure you keep your page up to date, please. I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. Because if somebody who's not a Rotarian comes across your page or is interested in Rotary, and if you hasn't been updated in 6 or 8 months, then that person may think that your club is not as active and not as engaging as it could be, and may not be interested in joining. Okay.
Andrea, it might be a little bit out of order here, but within the chat box, there's a lot of questions with respect to today's slides and some of the information that Mateo was sharing with us. And there's a request that the slides be made available via a direct link. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that exactly may mean, but there might be a need for a little bit of discussion around how the information this evening will be available to others following the session today.
Okay, yes. My plan is to post them on the public relations page on the district website. And if you want them, and that will hopefully be done on the weekend. However, I can also send you a PDF copy of them as well, if that will help you. But yes, definitely made available for sure. And you can even, you know, PR chairs that are joining us, you can share some of this stuff with your club members as well.
Okay,
But
thank you.
yes, they will definitely be made available, all access, all the time. Obviously, traditional media is still a big one in promoting Rotary and what we do. So if you could, you know, I'm sure you've got every community has a list of the local media. You know, send out a media advisory in advance of your service project or unveiling of a project. And then if you're doing something, I don't know, like a flag raising or a service project or whatever, you know, have a media release ready to go the day of the event and bring it with you. And then if the media do show up, then you can give them that page of information and they could talk to whoever you like. So obviously some key points to tell about in the story in the media release: the impact of your project, how many lives are being transformed, funds raised, you know, how many people were involved, and you know, the impact, obviously the impact it has on the community. So still use traditional media, please support them. I'm a former reporter, so please support them and they will support you. I know in Prince George, we get really good media coverage here for any events that we do. And it's good to keep those relationships up. And hopefully they know you and hopefully they know what you do. And I think also I think Lauren wants to do some more op-eds, encouraging people to submit op-eds to your local paper about, you know, around the various months. So say, you know, September is Peace Month. So you could do something around peace and what you're doing and what Rotary's doing around peace, or even November and Foundation Month. So every month, as you know, every month has a theme. So you could probably write an op-ed, or you could have somebody in your club write an op-ed about what Rotary is doing. And that's fine. That's good. It's good advertising. But you should ask the editor first, obviously, if they're interested in running it, and see if they agree before. So obviously, social media is still big. It's getting bigger. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I know more clubs are using Instagram. but Facebook and Twitter are also good. Obviously, Facebook is probably the biggest tool, social media channel. So just some key points to remember, to include an impact statement when writing your Facebook and IG posts. Use fun, engaging photos, candidates, different angles. Ask members to take photos of projects, tag organizations, other organizations to expand your reach, and ask Rotarians to like and share your posts. So that's pretty straightforward. So more people of action photos, please. I was in a RI convention PR session in July, and they said even for the check, if you got somebody who you supported and they're giving you a check, when one of those big check presentations, maybe hold the check upside down, make it fun and interesting, instead of like a static photo. But obviously tell that story. Just don't say, we provided, $30,000 and to this organization and that's it. But tell the story, tell who it impacts, why you did it, and go from there. Are there any questions around that in the last two slides?
Nothing that's showing, Andrea.
Okay, thanks, Bill. But yes, please keep your social media channels updated. If you can, that'd be great. A couple posts, 2 or 3 posts a week is good. Even if you don't have anything locally going on, there's still lots of stuff from End Polio Now and Rotary International. I know Holger Kanak is really busy, that his Facebook is busy with chock full of stuff. So Rotary International is always sharing, posting videos and stuff of projects happening around the world. So this is talking about membership spotlights. This is kind of what's new coming into this year. I'm working with Shirley Pat Chamberlain, who's the outgoing district membership chair, and then Dennis and Vaughn on these membership spotlights. And this is kind of a pilot project I'm working, and then I'm working on with Sandra Lewis, who's the assistant governor in Quesnel. So we're gonna start with the Caribou clubs and then probably the Prince George clubs. But Shirley Pat saw this from a Passport club, and she just thought it would be a good way to promote ourselves, because as we all know, Rotarians are too humble and we don't like bragging about ourselves. So this is kind of a good way that we can, and it's kind of a fun and interesting way to talk about ourselves. So we can share these on our Facebook at Club Runner. So this is and I did these on Canva, and I'm happy to, I put this together in about half an hour one night a couple of weeks ago. So I created these on Canva. It's got the, got your brand. I'll just move this over. So it's got, your logo, which is, you can download as a transparent white logo PNG file if you want the white logo. If you see, these are the Rotary colors. So this is just a bit, and it's COVID related. It's kind of something fun. So, and telling people about yourself. So that's me. I don't really have I can't think of a fun fact, but anyway, I couldn't think of anything, but anyway, so more about Rotary and how we're getting through the pandemic. So here's another one I created for Sandra Lewis. So, Rotary Club of Quesnel, her photo, get to know this Rotarian. And so once I had the template for mine made up, then Sandra and Shirley Pat sent me their information, and it didn't take me long to put these together. So I'm happy to share these slides, this slide with you as well. But I think right now we're gonna go forward with working with Quesnel and the Whalers Lake and 100 Mile clubs, and then I think we can definitely do Prince George. I don't want to do these myself, so I'm happy to, if people are interested in doing this, I'm happy to show them at another session how to do this. But I do not plan on doing this for every Rotarian who's interested in doing this. I can't. But
Andrea,
yeah.
Andrea, There are a number of comments that suggest people really like this concept of sharing information about who we are as Rotarians, even to our own, within our own clubs and within the district. So your suggestion of somehow expanding on this idea seems to have a lot of fertile ground.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing I would like to do is note that Lauren Calder would like to make a shameless plug.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Yeah, I was just thinking out loud when you brought social media up, and sometimes we forget that some of our online projects can be showcased through Facebook or other social media platforms. And so this Northern BC Rotary Bingo is done through Facebook. And so that goes much farther reaching, right? Because then you can share it with your friends. You can expand it. That's the reason why I did this plug. But if you like bingo, play Saturday nights. 6:30 is when we open up the windows and they start chatting. If you haven't heard Cal and Rod go as a tandem, you should spend a good hour and a half with them. It's a lot of fun. And $10 a card, and the money that's raised is for Rotary. So win-win.
Good. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lauren. I think Prince George is the only club in the district who's doing bingo. I think at Pets it was picked up from Golden and the Kootenai clubs. So it's a big thing. It's growing, and I know Rod Holmes took Downtown's President Bull by the horns, and they're going with it. So kudos to downtown, Prince George downtown. I hope to join one night. So this is, yeah. So I think the plan, and I'll show you Shirley Pat's. This is Shirley Pat's information. So I think the plan is to eventually share these on some digital advertising boards as well. I think probably every community has one or two of them. I know we've got them several in Prince George. I know Sandra and Simon would know this. I think there's one in Quesnel. But yeah, these are easy to share. It's kind of like a mini classification talk as well. But this is just fun stuff, and it's current information. It's current fun. I'm not saying COVID is fun, but it's just something a little more lighthearted than yeah. So I think this is a great project. I'm more than happy to share these and work with you, with your clubs, to share the template. And if you want to have a session to just specifically go create one of these, great, happy to do this. But yeah. Okay, moving on. So the Rotary Days of Service. I'm just checking your time. Yeah. So Rotary Days of Service. So this is a Rotary International project or initiative, but I think a lot of the RIA presidents have undertaken this. But so these are fun, informal community events so this would be, kind of the idea for 2021 or 21, 22, what we'd like to do in the district. And so they should address a challenge facing your community that fits one of Rotary's area of focus. So this is a great way to increase your membership and highlight our work. So I'll let you read those. And this is another way, obviously, that we can expand our reach. And I'll get into there are certain qualifications to be qualified as Rotary Days of Service. But, so I was talking to Lauren about this last week. So, a community, the Rotary clubs in one community, or if you just have one Rotary club in your community, you could just get together and do this, or the Rotary, Rotary clubs in community or area could join up and do a project. Or we could pick a day or a week and say, every club's going to be doing their own little project. And here, like, say if it's, I don't know, September 23rd might be early, but saying that sometime in the spring, pick a day or a week, and we've done these Rotary Days of Service, and think of the impact that we would have and showcase that, track your hours, what you did, if you planted trees, or there's so much, feed the homeless, there's so much you could do. So I'm gonna, before I ask you what you think you could do, I'm going to ask you in the chat, think about what you could do, what your clubs could do maybe for a Rotary Day of Service. But here are the qualifications. And I was looking at this, I can share this, Shikar, I think this is the brochure that Shikar Mehta's people put together, and I can share this, or Lauren can share it with you, we can share it with you. But it's got to be planned by 2 or more Rotaract clubs. It's got to be aligned with 1 or more Rotary areas of focus. You know, use social media to promote it. And it's got to be, the volunteers have to be 25% who are not current Rotary members. So, you know, it could be, and you could do something for peace, like, because International Day of Peace is September 21st. So you could do something around peace if you wanted, or during a Rotary theme month. So these are, yeah, it's got to be at least 3 of these additional goals. And this slide continues. So we can send this information to you. Just some of the qualifications, you know, it's got to be welcome families and participants of all ages and abilities. So I'm going to ask in the chat what you think what you think you could do based on, like, what you could do for Rotary Days of Service. I'm going to see if I can bring up the chat box.
Andrea, I can read them out, the ideas out as they come up.
Sure.
One could plant a community garden, have a shoreline cleanup, or a community cleanup. And another one wants to help work on the shoreline. It says, our Rotaract members have an East Side lunch drive the last weekend of every month.
That's awesome.
That last message from Mateo.
Great. Okay. So think about that. Think about what you could do in the oncoming year. And I don't know, like, maybe your area, I mean, it's up to you what you want to do. We're not saying you're going to do it this week, because as I mentioned, a few people last week, every area is different and every area has different needs and what the challenges that they face. So we're not going to tell you what you should do. It's obviously up to you. Use your creativity, but most of all, let us know, let Lauren know, let me know at least what you're doing. And we can spread the word and we can promote it and share it on the district Facebook page. But yeah, I think this is I think this is something that we could totally do, get the community involved, and it just shows the impact that Rotary does have in your community.
Andrea,
yeah,
that's a little bit of a lead in, and perhaps I could ask Val Little to chat about another shameless plug, this one to do with District Interact. So Val, please.
Go ahead, Val.
Got to unmute first. Okay, Interact, we have started doing newsletters. We've started to record our hours and the amount of money we've raised. And we have finally this week launched our website. And it's on district5040.org. And it is a work in progress, so we are still working on it, but we figured it was time that we launched it and let everybody see what Interact is doing. We also had a video contest, and each club that wanted to send in a video, and we have got those published on the website as well. So far this year, from October to the end of January, the Interact clubs have done over 2,000 volunteer hours, and they've raised $50,000. We have 32 clubs in the district, and if anybody else would like to start an Interact club, let me know. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, Val. That is incredible. That is amazing. Kudos to the Interactors. As people know, Interactors are high school Rotarians, right? And
Yeah.
they do amazing work. We had 5 of them join us for our spring cleanup here in Prince George on Sunday. They just showed up. So that was great. So they do a lot of different interesting projects, and they're, yeah. And if you can go to one of their meetings and see what they're doing, great.
Andrea,
Also too, I mean, they are a good resource for Rotary clubs because they're more than willing to join in and very, very keen.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, they're amazing. Thanks, Val.
Andrea, please note that Susan Ness has raised her hand.
Great. Susan.
Hi, Andrea. This is a little bit of kudos to the interactors. So I want Val Little to hear this. I work for Costco in my daytime life, and I maintain our local community budget. And the Sir Winston Churchill Interact Club reached out to me yesterday. They are promoting their mental health art gallery that they're working on. It's a project between them and Covenant House, which is a really amazing organization here in the Lower Mainland. And so I'm so impressed. Our Rotary Club also has an amazing Interact Club that we partner with, that we sponsor in Burnett here in Richmond. But I just, because we're talking PR, I loved the fact that Sir Winston Churchill reached out. They didn't know I was a Rotarian. It had nothing to do with being a Rotarian. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. So maybe that's a good segue that we can, maybe the clubs can share the good work, not that their interactors do. So why not share, if they're tracking their hours, Val, does every club track their hours?
They're not, but I'm starting to get them to do it.
Yeah.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. It's the same as in Rotary. Some report them, some don't. And I'm afraid I'm one that doesn't, because I don't have time to sit down and track them. So I really have to. The other thing that I want to plug, since you've given me the mic for a few minutes, I won't let go. We also did the act of kindness this year, but nobody has reported it on the website. What we're hoping to do is join with UNESCO and 2 other clubs, one in India and an act of kindness. And we're trying to get the United Nations and Rotary to declare an act of kindness day.
Oh, great. Excellent. Okay, thanks, Val. Yeah, so we can't forget about the interactors because they do amazing community work. So we can totally tell their stories as well, not just our own clubs. So it's good to tell their interactors so they feel included with the regular Rotarians as well. So totally, I think that's a great idea if you can, what's the word I'm looking for? If you can make a commitment at least to tell a couple of interact stories over the course of the year, that'd be great. Because they are our future Rotarians, as are the Rotaractors. So we're almost to the end, but resources. So obviously 5040, the District 5040 Club Runner, and I think it's rotary5040.org that's the web address. The brand center, that's where you can create your own logos. Obviously, I think most clubs have done that. You can download the theme logos. If you haven't done that, download the Serve to Change Live logos for 21, 22. And I mean, the brand center is chock full of great information. It's got the visual guidelines, the brand guidelines, the sample media release. It's even got Zoom backgrounds that you can download. And obviously the logos, graphics, Canva, as I mentioned, I use that a lot. The free version is more than adequate for you to play around with and create your graphics if you want. And then the Facebook page. This is the Rotary Club members public image graphics and ideas Hub Facebook page. I know a lot of us on this call tonight are part of this page. And it's a great way to share your ideas. Share your graphics, and people will say, well, that's not the right brand. No, that's the wrong use of the brand. And it's great feedback. It's all inclusive. It's Rotarians from around the world who are on this page. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. That's where I got the idea to share our stats for the year for the volunteer hours and the money that we raise. So it's great idea. It's chock full of ideas that you can share and go back and forth with. And then obviously the mobile Club Runner app is also key as well. So key points, use the people of action, in essence, the Rotary brand to tell your story, work together with other foundation membership committees and area clubs to promote projects, speaker, and share ideas. Please communicate. I almost quit Rotary because I wasn't getting information a couple of years ago. We were too stuck in our silos and nothing was getting shared between the clubs. So please talk amongst yourselves. We have, Prince George, we have a PR group, and we meet monthly and talk about what's happening and ideas. We share ideas, graphics, and do it that way. However, and I am looking if any PR chairs are on this call who would like to form a bigger group, the more the merrier, and we can create our own group and share ideas and meet and go over what's happening within the clubs in the area. So I'd love to do that as well. So if you're interested, please send me an email. And here's my contact information. It's a_Johnson17@shaw.ca. My cell number. So this is the district PR committee. It's myself and Murray Wood, who's the webmaster from Whistler. He's a great guy. We work well together, and we talk almost weekly now. But we are looking for more people to join. It would be great to have a group of 5 or 6. Especially if interested in putting together a newsletter. If you already do your club bulletin for your club, I know a lot of clubs still do their club bulletin. So if you have the know-how to put together a newsletter, then great. But we'd love to have you join us. And as I said, I'm happy to work with other clubs or areas. And I know there was the Zone PR conference or meeting last night. And I know Brian Finley from Squamish is on the call. And there was a person who's an expert on Canva, on Canva on there. And he thought it was really good. So I think my goal is to get a hold of her and we can do a webinar on Canva. However, in the meantime, I'm willing to work with individual clubs or areas. So are there any questions? I will stop and I'll put my email in the chat. I'll stop my share. And are there any questions that you had?
Andrea, there was a comment came up about the use of Instagram and Twitter if you want to reach the younger group, the 30 and younger demographic.
Yeah, I think Instagram is a great way, especially to reach the younger graphic. Use it. I don't use it just because I have so many other channels. I use a ton of it for work, but I think definitely I make a point of using that. Use it. And with Instagram, it's great because you can have as many hashtags as you want, more than just Rotary, People of Action, We Are Rotary. You can tag other groups. You can you can tag so many other things. Facebook, it's probably ideal to only 2 or 3 hashtags, but definitely use Instagram. If you create the graphics, you've got good photos of your service projects, whatever you do, use it. Twitter is you have to be kind of on top of Twitter, but the good thing about Twitter is you can repost a certain thing couple times because the average life of Twitter is, viewing on Twitter is only about 10 seconds. So use Twitter, but you can reshare stuff if you've got a project or a meeting, share it a couple times over the course of the week. So people will see it, the more the better. So go for it.
Hey, Andrea, there's another question around what I presume is a different platform, so to speak, for holding meetings, something called a Meetup account. Nick, perhaps you could chat a little bit about that. It's something that I don't believe I've done justice to your question.
Sorry. I
So
just had to
Nick,
get
are you there,
everything
please?
Prepared. I am here. Hi, Nick Bellamy. So I'm with Rotary Club Lionsgate. So my question pertains, I don't know, it sounds like probably people here haven't used it, but there's a events program called meetup.com.
Yeah.
So meetup.com is like a kind of a public area of which you can have and host meetup events. We use it for another networking group here. My thought pertains to the district creating a club, like essentially a District 5040 account, and then bringing on organizers from each, like a PR person from each club. And then we'd be able to post our meetings. And because everything's done through Zoom, theoretically, there's no boundaries because I could go join a meeting in Prince George if I wanted to. And or District 5040 could also use that placeholder to promote an event for that club, which might be beneficial to share events. Just a thought. So
Why not, Nick? Maybe we should talk another time and talk
so I can just
offline another
post the
time.
link here.
But I would create a district account because maybe that's how the PR chairs can meet. I mean, I wanted to do Slack or Microsoft Teams. I know we use that Teams at work, but maybe Meetup is the way to go for this. But I would love,
Well, this is more of like a parent thing. So
Right.
basically it's a platform that you would be able to enable smaller clubs to post their events. And like say, you know, Prince George has a really cool speaker too. Maybe I want to go to that one if the time permits.
Okay.
It's a place for me to be able to find it, or any Rotarian. Obviously, because with Zoom, there are no boundaries to distance. I think one of the benefits here is creating linking between all of the different clubs would be seen as important. At least that's just my feeling. So
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think that's great. I think we can, is it a free platform, Nick?
no, but you could theoretically have one account and then bring on an organizer, because I would assume that one person shouldn't have to control 50 different clubs events in the system, but you could bring on multiple organizers to be able, so they could post their events there.
Oh,
And that
okay.
would help mitigate the workload.
Okay, great.
That
Yeah, I
was
can
my
definitely.
2 cents, but
Okay, thank
feel free to
you.
check it out. It's, you know, it's not that much. I think for a paid, for like a not-for-profit, it'd be like maybe 180, $200 a year or something like that.
Okay,
So,
we have a budget, so yes.
but for a smaller club, they may not have a budget. That's why I think.
No,
from
but if
a
the district had created this account and then other clubs, it would be free for other clubs to put their information in there.
Yeah,
correct?
because we would be like an organizer of the main account, and then we could create all these events and be kind of cool, because then people could send it out as a link, and it doesn't show the Zoom link. You have to sign up, right?
Okay.
So then because another question was about how they eliminate people that don't know if they're actually in the meetup or not and sending out passwords. You don't get a password until you sign up. So it might be another alternative, so then you don't have randos coming into a meeting, right?
Great.
Just food for thought. So
Thanks for that, Nick. Always like learning things. I always reminded my children that I'm old. Because
I'm reminded by my 2.5-year-old that I'm old too. Don't worry about it.
Because I only have a Facebook account. So you know what? If you say Facebook, they say you're old. So I like Facebook. So I'll leave it at that.
Hey, it's okay. I remember beta tapes and cassette players. So don't worry about it. You're in good. You're in good. Good
You're
company.
older than you look, Nick.
Yeah.
I feel older than I look too.
Yeah. Anyways, great. Thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you, Andrea, for that presentation. Hope you got some tricks and tips and some ideas. Past President Rovik from Mountain View posted a number of files. These are little fun things that they do at their club meeting, like the bell. They actually ring the bell and it's online. They have a couple cash registers. So when you do Happy Bucks, it's a lot of fun. And I thank you for posting that stuff. I've always enjoyed going to Mountain View, always come away with a smile. And if we can do those virtual in-person sessions and have a little bit of fun in them, and it just makes it more entertaining. It doesn't, but it's hard to do every week. It's work. So appreciate that. We are encouraging every club, if they could please think about their history, what they do, what their major projects are, kind of how they make a difference in their communities. Even if you have to put it in point form, if you could think about that and send them in to me, I would appreciate it. We really would like to highlight one club per week. So there's 52 weeks in the year. We have 49 clubs, plus we have Interact and Rotaract to think about too. So we have lots of space to do it, and not every club's going to do it. I know that. Don't forget our history. We've come a long way. There are some major things that we did earlier in our lives that we continue on, such as the formation of the United Nations. Think about that. Think about the eradication of polio and taking that on in 1985. This is our history, but we learn from that history to do even better and more in the future. So the only way we get to that way is for the story. In the good old days, we didn't want to waste money on print. With social media, there's very little cost. So let's find a way to make that work for us. Let's not be the best kept secret. We'll let one other not-for-profit organization stay the best kept secret, but we don't want to be the best kept secret. I know I paid a presentation to my own staff at the credit union. They did not know Rotary did all that. And I'm going to say that's going to be my theme through the year. If you want to see wow factor of Rotary, look forward to my district governor visits. We definitely want to maximize the district governor visits when he comes around and talks to your clubs. We definitely want to invite the media out. If there's newspaper, radio, TV, whatever it is, willing to speak to them. If you want to hold a community event, a community project, you want to invite non-Rotarians, encourage you to do so. Because if we only keep only our information to our inner selves, only we will know what we know. And it's time to let other people know what we do. So with that, let's
if anybody is interested in joining the PR committee or even having a PR group, a bunch of us, contact me, please. And I was hoping, going to contact everybody individually, but if you can, send me a note and we can get a group together and go from there. I love the idea of that meetup.com. So the more hands, the lighter work between everybody, and the more ideas to share, the better the silos break down. So, and we can move the district forward and your clubs forward as well. So.
Last plug, May 5th, please, that's the last year head session. It's on youth and Rotaract. So there's two separate and distinct functions, two events back to back. And so youth is going to be first, about 30, 45 minutes. And then Rotaract will follow after that. And I always love listening to Rotaract. They have the same experience as Interact, but I just want to plug Val here. She just put the numbers up there. The number of interactors outnumber the number of Rotarians in this district. We got to change that. 1,700 interactors, 1,325 Rotarians.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for everybody for joining us. Really appreciate your time. Oh, and youth, your head session is May 5th. And we'll get these slides to you any way we can. Happy to share them. Happy to do individual presentations, whatever. Take you through Canva.
Thank you.
Susan, I'll be seeing you at your peace conversation on next Thursday, I believe. I'm the tech at your meeting. So it'd be great to see everybody again.
Say, Andrea, change topics for just a bit. Have we received the link for our meeting tomorrow? Our 5 o'clock get together tomorrow?
No, I was going to send that out tomorrow morning because so it doesn't get mixed up in all the emails that have been sent, but I have created it. I mean, I can do it tonight if you want.
Oh, no problem. It's just that, you know me, I can overlook these things so easily.
I don't want you to lose it because I thought I lost the link to this session. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I registered for this session. Like, so I at 20 to 7, I'm like, where the hell is this link? Right. So
exactly. Yeah.
That was excellent participation tonight. 70 people signed on, so that was
Yeah.
fantastic. And you did not lose very many. Like
No.
we were at 67 at 8 o'clock, so that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't time it, but I think,
Andrea, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I just didn't time it, but I figured we'd probably like 5, like depending on the chat discussion, probably 5 after, 10 after, but I think that's okay.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Getting interrupted also slows you down a little bit, but it's the way to do it. And so it took you an hour 10. You would have, if you just went smooth sailing, you would have been done in 55 minutes. And,
Yeah, but I
so
didn't want to do that.
no, exactly. No, this was fine.
Yeah.
This is perfect.
So,
Yeah.
Andrea, just draw your attention to one of the notes in the chat.
Yeah.
It was from a fellow named Dave Connors from the Sunshine Coast. He said he would get in touch with you via email about helping with the PR committee.
Great.
So Dave Connors from the Sunshine Coast.
Sunshine
Nice.
Coast. Right. Great.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't want to do the newsletter. I mean, whatever, I'll
Oh.
do whatever I can, but if we can have more people on that
Yeah.
committee and then have a larger group
Yeah.
of all the PR shares, then fabulous, right? Like,
Yeah. It's okay to be an editor, but you don't want to be the news reporter and the editor.
no.
No, it's work. And you know what? We got a lot going on the plate too. And so ultimately we need to put some responsibility back onto them and stuff like that. But the Rotary Club of Prince Rupert, for instance, has got kind of a 100th anniversary celebratory
Thanks, Dan.
spread going out. And so it's a great place to, start off the year with them. And I'm willing to write it up on the Rotary Club of Prince George to give a bit of history and background just to kind of get it going. And we have a couple people that are kind of in our space, committee chairs, that type of stuff that are engaged. And so they can get them to write that. It's those other clubs that are not engaged at the district level that you will find trouble getting them to write things and do that stuff. So
There's always so many good quality videos and information that comes out from Rotary International that, can fill the gaps in between so that it's constantly in the public eye. Like I really liked the polio one that they posted today at Rotary International about how how UNICEF is running with the COVID vaccinations based on the Polio Foundation. So, like it's pretty significant. Yeah. So there's always
we have all these electronic boards on the highways now, and I know it's for money. Don't get me wrong, and they sell space, but they may be approachable to do it for much reduced cost or free, right? So I think ultimately we got to think differently. We just never have approached them to kind of ask that question. And so, basically you're right. I mean, anything that kind of pops out there and gives you kind of that inaction place and join Rotary and that type of stuff is big. So, yeah.
keeps it.
And those membership spotlights are perfect for digital advertising. Like we can make them work. Like Sandra, I think I was telling you, Lauren, but Sandra was saying, she buys, her insurance company buys ad space on the board in Quesnel.
Yeah.
So why, and they could promote Quesnel Rotary. Like they could put all those spotlights there. Like she would pay for, like, fine. And
I'll give you an example.
Integris,
Those three people didn't, I saw their
maybe
little things that
Integris
they
should do
talked
the
to.
same.
Yeah, no,
Well, you're not
I've
retired,
talked to
but,
them. But
I
you
don't
know,
have any pull on the sign here on 5th and Central.
Yeah.
Right? So
But when you look at Shirley Pat
Yeah.
Chamberlain's little profile there that you did,
yeah.
she doesn't know how to brag about herself. She's a Lieutenant Governor General Medal Award winner,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's about me, but that's not, she got that because of her involvement in a Rotary project. And that's the whole point. The extension is a lot of times we get these special awards and recognitions, but it's not because of what we did for our community and for our Rotary clubs. And it's forgotten. And sometimes people don't understand that sometimes you don't do it to get the award or recognition, but when you do, I don't know about you, but when I got the nominee for Citizen of the Year, I think I worked twice as hard the next year. So.
show people that you actually earned it. Like, you know,
Yeah, exactly. You know,
even though they were like, I know when we nominated Ron Newcomb and I put
Mhm.
that nomination package together, I had like 6 letters of recommendation, and then I wrote a 3-page essay about why, like, all the great stuff he'd done. Like, it was intense. And then I was upset he didn't get this year. But I mean, yeah, so all the stuff goes into that. And then yes, you got to brag about that. But yeah, we don't do enough of that.
we have never been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. You see who wins that award? I mean, we do 10 times more than that. So I've been told by Shakar that there's potentially 30 nominations this year for us on our polio eradication efforts to be nominated for that. I don't know if you know that, but we'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say farewell for the
Okay.
evening and see you. It's at 5 o'clock tomorrow,
All right.
correct?
I'm going to send you a quick PowerPoint. I've just been working a little bit on the slide deck for the Andrea. No, it's not anywhere near complete, but I put the agenda down based on your feedback and stuff. We're going to debate. We might have to take some time away to put strategic planning in there somewhere, but we'll talk about that. And we just need to talk about the type of themes or questions or the breakout session. I don't want it all to be the same for all 9. We have 3 topics maybe, and 3 groups do one, 3 groups do one, and 3 groups do another one. And that way you get better sharing, but we'll talk a bit about what those might be under membership and under foundation and under public relations, public, that type of thing. So is that fair? Okay. And then I'm going to send out a little communication once we've had our meeting. Then I'll send a communication to all the president-elects and share kind of the day, come prepared to do a couple of things. And then I still got to get together some individual stats for each of the clubs, their KPIs, that type of stuff, and see if we can help them think, dream, action. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks for all your help, everyone, tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm glad people enjoyed that and liked that. So, yeah, really good.
Okey-dokey. Well, we will see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.